The show where anything goes. Motivation, mindset, recovery, philosophy, and life. We become who we are through what we experience. We all have a story, and this is My Backstory with Josh Boyer.
We're live. Here I am with BAM with Wishes for Warriors in Boise, Idaho. So the way that we met, actually, the little backstory here is I did the podcast with the guys from Rhino Metals, Chill Sergeant Luke and Phil, and they're like, "Hey man, you should have BAM and do a podcast with him while you're in Boise." So it worked out perfectly. So here we are, and I'm gonna let BAM introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his life and his backstory and what he's up to and where he's going.
There we go.
Good stuff, man.
All right. No, I'm BAM. So Brian Marshall, as everybody kind of knows me, but I go as Bam Bam now as my own Marine Corps call sign. So yeah, these guys just texted me the other day like, "Dude, let's knock this podcast out." So it's like, absolutely, let's do it, man. I'm actually headed to Salt Lake to pick up bear bait, but yeah, push that back a little bit and come out here and knock this out with you.
Appreciate it, man.
Spread the word, talk about my organization, what we're doing. A little bit about me is that, I joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school, and I did 8 years. Picked up staff real quick. I was actually planning on careering it, and woke up and saw the light one day and realized it wasn't really for me and what I wanted to do. And I actually had a re-enlistment package in.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I was ready to go. I was going to do another 4, and I had my bonuses and everything, and my schools all picked out. And I wanted to do, at least they tell you that in the Marine Corps, but it's not guaranteed. And I just, one day I couldn't do it. I saw the light and I was like, I'm out. And I went home and I decided then I was like, yeah, I got to do me, and start my own thing and start hustling and enjoy life. And that's what I did. I got out. But
what was the catalyst for that? Like, why did you decide like this isn't it?
I love the Marine Corps, hated my job. I was absolutely miserable going to work every day. And I'm one of those people that, if you don't like it, change it. Don't sit there and bitch about it and complain about it for the next 20 years. And so, yeah, so that's what I was at. I was at that point, and doing 8 years, anything over that, you might as well career it. Right. So I was at that turning point, and I made that decision, and I went to my gunny, and I had a really cool gunny at the time, and I was like, "Hey, Guns, I'm done." And he's like, "You know what? Like, you need to go do it. This is you're on the fence right now. Jump." And so I made that decision, and I ended up getting on a contracting job and going to Afghan and doing executive security over there for a while. And it's the only job I've ever been fired from. Proud to say.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm getting in a fight. So one of my supervisors, shocker. And so they fired me real quick, which was actually a blessing in disguise because I came back and I already paid off all my debt. That was my big goal for going to Afghan and going contract, and paid everything off. And I ended up going down to this job expo in Camp Pendleton, and I was going to just, to get on another contract can take you a little while, and going through all the vetting and all that crap. Yeah. I see this guy, he's got a construction sign and a little banner, and I was like, "Hey, I've grew up, my dad's run heavy equipment my whole life, and I've run it." And I was like, "Hey, you know what? Like, I can do heavy equipment." I give him my resume, and he's like, "What the hell you want to run heavy equipment for?" I was like, "I just need to pay the bills, I got a family and daughters to take care of." So he's like, "Hey, I got this job opportunity in Vegas to go out there and do executive security. If you want to build this executive security company for me." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Like, that's a no-brainer,
Yeah. What was your MOS?
1833, I was an Amtracker.
Okay.
Yep. And so, which a lot of people listening now are probably like, "Oh yeah, he probably did hate his job." Cause like, it was horrible. Especially being stationed on Camp Pendleton, like on Del Mar on the beach. It'd be like a Friday afternoon. You could see all these women in bikinis, smelling barbecue. And here we are like busting rust off a bolt, and like staff, "Look busy." I'm like, what does that even mean? What does look busy mean?
Right.
Like, let me go, please. Just let me go. It's Friday. Yeah. Can we just go home and party on the beach? They'd be like, "Shut the fuck up. Just look busy." I'm like, "Roger that." Like, whatever that means. So you're sitting there with a little wire brush and a bolt or a 50 cal or Mark 19 freaking going through that with, cotton swabs and all that kind of crap, just looking busy. So that was, I was like, dude, I can't do this. So, and then I ended up going to Afghan, got fired from that. And then I meet this guy who wants me to start this executive security company. And I start talking to this guy. He's this old Army Ranger. Yeah. He calls me Staff Sergeant. "Hey, Staff Sergeant." And I'm like, "Oh God, like let it go, buddy."
We're not in anymore, dude. I'm a civilian.
Like I'm Brian or I'm Bam. He's like, "Staff Sergeant Marshall, I need you to do that." I'm like, "Oh God, like I don't know if I could work for this guy." But he's like, "I'll pay you what you're making in Afghan." I'm like, "Done." All right, yeah. So I could stay here in the States, make what money I was making over there, and get to eat a cheeseburger if I want to, and not eating some fucked up Afghani food. Sorry, I don't know if we can cuss on this.
You can totally cuss.
Okay.
It's all good.
Perfect. And so, so I go out to Vegas, and I start getting these job descriptions. He's like, you're out there, you're going to be guarding turtles. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is a low point in my life. Like, I tell my chick, I'm like, dude, and she's like, what does he want? And I'm like, he wants me to go to Vegas and guard turtles. And I'm like, I'm not doing this bullshit. Like, here I am. I got like Ambassador Crocker working with him and like working at the embassy in Afghan. And like, here I am, like less than a month later, like interviewing to like guard turtles in Vegas. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to describe this to my buddies. Like, they're going to laugh at me, you know, and she's like, just entertain it. You don't know. If you don't like it, quit. I'm like, okay. So I go out there and move to Vegas. I get this email one day. This guy's like, I need you in Vegas by close of business, Staff Sergeant. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, pack my shit and I drive to Vegas, not thinking it's a Sunday. I get to the office and there's nobody even working. Call the guy. I'm like, what the hell am I here for? He's like, oh, my bad. I didn't even think about it. So I meet the project managers and I'm like, so I'm guarding turtles? And he's like, yep. I'm like, fuck. Okay, like, let's do this. And he's like, you'll have like 12 employees. Well, the basis of this was guarding turtles, yes. But like, it's $1 billion project. If a turtle gets hit, it's like a $250,000 fine at first. And it goes to like a several $1 million fine. Then it could close the project down, which like our operating hour for 1 hour was like, I think like $2.5 million of just payroll an hour.
Shit.
And so there was all these environmentalists and these tree huggers and hippies and these chicks that lived in their trucks and they'd be out there watching you and they smelled like hamsters. They haven't showered in months. And it was just fucking weird. Right. And here I am like some just knuckle dragger. And I got to like, now I'm dealing with this environmental bullshit. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? And then I go from having 12 employees and I'd sit in these project manager meetings and they'd be like, hey, we need 4 guys to like guard this bird nest, this endangered finch. And like all these normal project managers are like not even like entertaining it. And I'm like, hey, can I hire vets and do it? And they'd be like, bam, do it. Yours. Like, cool. So I went to, what is it, the Air Force Base in Vegas? Nellis. And so I go to Nellis and I go to this reserve station and these guys, I tell them what's going on. I'm looking to hire vets. So they start sending me all these vets. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'd interview vets and I hire 4 vets to guard this fucking stupid bird nest. They're making 20 something bucks an hour standing out there. And then these guys would come back to be like, hey, we need somebody to drive these ATVs to escort these trucks. And I'd be like, hey, can I hire vets? And they're like, do it. And so then it just started growing and it grew into this. I went from supposed to have 12 employees to hiring 155 veterans within like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And it was just way over my head. I mean, I didn't know I literally was like just a Amtrak or Marine and retard. Like a few months later, I'm in Afghan. Then after that, I'm hiring and firing all these vets. I'm growing this business. I mean, we grew into a multi-million-dollar company. Wow. It was just way over my head. Yeah. And so during that time, my boss was awesome. And you know, I was big into the outdoors, big into hunting. And I've always wanted to start an organization. I lost my best friend overseas and I always wanted to do something to give back. And so during that time I had I was running the whole company. I did the hire and the fire and literally the company was mine. Yeah. Guy just, you know, overlooked it and found work and let me run everything. So I had a lot of time to do what I wanted in a way. And so I was up hunting one day with my buddy in Northern California. And I was like, man, why don't we have a vet here? A guy that, you know, I've killed enough crap up here. And I was like, why don't we bring a guy? And he's like, dude, get a guy up here. I was like, we should just bring like a wounded vet up here. And he's like, you know what? You do it, put it together. I'll put everything together and you know, we'll get a guy on an animal. So I go home and like, it was like ironic. First thing I do when I drive home, I turn on TV and there's like a Wounded Warrior Project commercial on. I'm like, oh God, like again with these guys, right. You know, cause I knew what a scam was. I got buddies that are missing legs, waking up in hospitals with like, given a pair of socks and flip-flops from Wounded Warrior. You know, it's like...
I've heard a lot of bad things
about There's horrible things about them. If you actually look at the numbers, obviously they're trying to change things and there's some good about them, but, you know, it doesn't outweigh the bad.
Right.
And I'm like, that's it. You know, like how much are they paying these celebrities to do these commercials on TV? Like, think about that. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to do it. I'm starting my own organization. I just want to do 4 or 5 guys a year. That's it. Like, take out a couple guys, raise enough money, take them on some pig hunts. Then it just, I mean, that was like my only goal with Wishes was just to add, that was it. Take 4 or 5 guys out a year. You know, and with social media and you start doing great things and you're helping people, then the community jumps on board and people start backing you. So then it just momentum started picking up. And obviously with my social media following, that helped a lot, like tremendously. I mean, people wouldn't even know what Wishes was if it wasn't for social media and being able to do that. And so this is where we are today. I mean, five years later, we're now partnering with BSU. So we went from helping this as a veteran organization, just doing outdoor activities, right? Anything hunting, fishing, you name it. You want to go skydiving, whitewater rafting, we do it. You get guys come to us or their wives will submit them. We have kids submitting their fathers and mothers. And it's grown into 5 guys a year. Then we went to like 25 guys a year. Then we went to 50 guys a year. And then we did like 90 something vets like previous year. So
awesome.
it's huge. It's grown into this monstrous thing. And people think we're some big corporate organization. I literally run this out of the office, out of my house, all volunteer. And so we've grown so much in just a few years. And so now with Wishes, instead of just being an outdoor activity veteran organization, is that BSU here in Boise, they actually, we had a meeting with them. They came to us wanting to adopt us as their veteran organization, which is huge.
Yeah.
And so where it's big for us is that, one, it's obviously a college of that, size that wants to actually back our organization. And so how that works is that now Wishes isn't just outdoors. Now we're actually able to do scholarships for vets, disabled vets, families and things like that. Because a lot of alumni come back to Boise and they want to donate.
Right.
And so being on that list and the only veteran organization on there, now people are actually able to donate to us. That'll go straight to scholarships for vets. And now we're working with Under Armour. We do our homeless veteran drive every winter. Under Armour sends us, last year they sent us like $1.2 million worth of cold weather gear.
Oh, wow.
So pretty much everything that Under Armour doesn't sell from the previous year, instead of them just destroying it and trashing it, now we get it. And it's all brand. I mean, these are $300-$400 jackets and clothes and thermals and socks. And so with that, we teamed up with 2 other companies, which is Deadeye Outfitters, which is actually the flannel I'm wearing. It's a clothing company out of Reno, and then Peak Refuel, which is a company out of Salt Lake. So with every package that we send out with vets now to a veteran in need, they get the cold weather gear and they get a meal, which is almost like a mountain house, which is, people know. So they get a meal and then a pair of socks and cold weather gear with every package we go out. And so, I mean, we're sending out thousands and thousands and thousands of packages to all over the nation. We're sending pallets and crates to other organizations that's their main focus, is to help homeless veterans or veterans in need. And they'll contact us because we just put it out on social media. Like, if you're an organization, you need gear. I mean, I got a 3-car garage and it was packed floor to ceiling and my whole entire driveway was full. And we, so that's with us, we're like, take it. And I'm driving, I was literally renting U-Haul trucks, the biggest U-Haul truck you could rent, filling it full of Under Armour and just driving to Oregon to organizations there. And they're just spreading it all up and down the coast. So, it's grown so much more than what I ever would have expected. And so, we've gone through some horrible, really hard growing pains. Yeah. Because you could read all the books, you could listen to these podcasts about what these big organizations are doing, but until you're actually in the trenches and you're failing at certain things and you're growing at other ones, you just never know. And
how did you start? Why don't you go into that? Because I think there's a lot of people, like for myself included, like I started a nonprofit when I was done with when I got done with my last back surgery. I was like, I want to start a nonprofit to help other veterans out there that are suffering with addiction and suffering with like recovering. But I didn't really know how to get it off the ground. And having a family and all this, I have all these excuses as to why I didn't keep it going. But
it's tough, man. I tell people every day, I get approached all the time, like, hey man, I'll get messages on Instagram and I'm looking at starting an organization. I tell them, don't do it. Yeah. Find one that you love and you support and it touches your heart and that's what you want to focus on, and volunteer. Get on their board, do the grind. And then if you still, a year or 2 years later and you're still, that drive is still there, okay, consider it. Like, if you don't have the passion, like I'm talking, it has tried my relationship. It's taken me away from my kids. I mean, for 2 years in a row, I did 280 days on the road, taking guys all over the world on trips. It was great. I mean, I got to experience so much cool stuff with these guys and be there with them, because with our organization, I don't just send a vet on a trip. Right. We have a mentor that goes with them, a guy it's guys that have gone through our program, guys that needed help, and they've actually been on that ledge where they wanted to pull the trigger or, just do something, that a lot of these vets suffer with and quit or just walk away and give up. And we brought them on through our organization, and now they're mentors. They've gone through the program, they've healed, and now they're able to give back. And now these guys are volunteering, taking guys out. So, it's grown so much. But I mean, volunteering, you get these volunteers like, man, I love it, I want to be involved. And people will volunteer for so long before that fire burns out, or they want to get paid and they want to start making money off of it. And it's just like, sorry, like we can pay people. There's nothing illegal. And this is a big misconception with organizations. You can pay people. Right. There's no problem. I can collect a salary. I could take whatever the hell I wanted to if I wanted, if that was my motive. Right. When I started Wishes, it was like, we're not paying anybody, because I saw what Wounded Warrior was doing. These presidents and CEOs and CFOs were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year off of donated money. That killed me. I was like, man, that how many trips I could send a guy on, or how many lives we could save with that much money. Yep. So that was my motive at first. And then now once I like know the ins and outs, and I mean, dude, you're doing hours and hours and hours a month volunteering on the road. And I still haven't taken a dime. I'll be very transparent with everybody. I mean, it was last year and the year before, toward the end of that year, we really had to slow things down because we were moving and we're growing. I was growing my other personal companies, and I had to fund I put 70 grand out of my own pocket into Wishes to keep it going because we had people that were, hey, this is something that, we had them guaranteeing us money, or donors or sponsors, and things didn't come through that we had already spent the money, technically, like booked the trips and the adventures for the guys, and they didn't come through. So you can't just close the door. So, I mean, I literally was funding this out of my own pocket, and it was tough, I mean, financially to fund your own organization. It's not easy, especially when you're trying to grow your other companies and you need that money. And so, but it's like, how do you walk away from the boys?
Yep.
I felt like it was a calling and I had to do it. And so that's 70 grand right there. I mean, gone. Here you go. I mean, and it's like, not like I could sit there and take it back. I could take a salary and be like, oh, I'm gonna pay myself back, but it's not why I started it. Right. So, it's just when it comes to actually starting an organization, it's really tough. It's a grind. I mean, I think there's like 53,000 veteran organizations in this country right now, So, I mean, there's something that you can find that you can really support and back. Do it for a while. And if that's your thing, do it, It's just tough, especially if you're going to start an organization, and a lot of them piddle out. They come out for a year or two and they're great. And then they get the momentum going. And then just, there's so much more to it. The fundraising and constantly following up with these guys, like, that need help, that you need to text on a daily basis. Like, hey brother, how you doing? Like, how's your family? How's work? Have you found a job? Do you need help finding work? How do you need to get enrolled in school? So there's a lot of burden that you take on when you start an organization that you don't really think about. There's so much to it. You just think like, oh, cool, we're going to raise money. I'll send guys on trips. But then they become like a family. Yeah. Then you're going to their houses and you're hanging out with their kids and their wives. And so then they're coming over for my daughter's birthdays and things like that. So it's a more extent of a brotherhood. You have that military bond, but then it grows. And so then you have to adopt that. You take that in. You can't just walk away from that. So, right. There's a lot to it, and it's a struggle. I'm not going to make it sound like it's the greatest thing in the world, but behind the closed doors, there's a lot of work to it. And there's, the good and the bad and the ugly. It all is all there. You might see it on our posts, and it's like, oh, great. We just sent this guy on the trip of a lifetime. But there's so much that went into that, and vetting these guys and making sure they're actually a disabled vet. We get a lot of stolen valors, to be honest with you. Are you serious? Oh God, yeah. You would be surprised. I mean, guys sending us fake Purple Heart certificates and made up DD-214s and all that stuff. So like, just vetting vets to make sure they actually are qualified for our organization's a full-time job. So I have an Army vet out of California that's fully retired. He's 100% disabled. He's a godsend to us. He's doing all of that now for us. His name's Jesse, and it's a full-time job, just vetting. What's
the qualification?
For Wishes, for our organization, it's 50% combat wounded or more. And so the reason I did that, and it might sound messed up a little bit, we were actually my buddy's, excuse me, my buddy's little brother ended up driving off a cliff and got out of the Marine Corps 100% disabled, never deployed in his life.
Right.
And so when he was at Wounded Warrior Battalion, we'd go up there and see him, or he'd bring all his friends over to our houses. And all these kids, they're all messed up, 100% disabled. They're going to all these hockey games, all these hunting trips. They're traveling all over the country. None of them have ever stepped foot in the sandbox. None of them have ever been in combat. Right. And they're reaping all these benefits. But meanwhile, I got buddies that were laid up in the hospital, missing eyes and arms and legs and TBIs and all this stuff, Thanks, buddy. And so when I started Wishes, I wanted to make sure the guys that have done the time, earned it, went straight to the front of the line. Right. And so obviously with our that's just our outdoor organ part of everything. So like when it comes to a veteran in need, there's zero requirements. All you have to do is show a DD-214 that you served. Or we have guys who are like, hey man, there's a homeless guy that's down the street from me, like, and we'll send packages. Obviously it's more of on an honor system. If you're going to take advantage of an organization, obviously you need to rot in hell. If you're just trying to get free gear, if you just need free gear, tell me, we'll get you gear. Right. But, so with like, when it comes to the scholarship thing, we're still trying to work that out if we're going to have a percentage or if it's just going to be, veterans here in the Boise, Treasure Valley, so we're trying to still work that out. But just as they go on an outdoor adventure, it's 50% combat wounded or more. So
how did you guys get your, the initial funding? How did you start that?
Me?
Just, it was out of your pocket?
Yeah, everything.
How'd you do the fundraising? How did I start?
Just grinding, man. I started with GoFundMe, which was cool for like the first one, but then that was when GoFundMe was real big. And I mean, then everybody had a GoFundMe at that point. I mean, it's just insane if you actually look at GoFundMe and what people are trying to raise money for. And then, honest to God, it was companies on social media, friends and companies that were growing, and they wanted to back us, and they'd give me $250 here or $500 here. And that was huge for us. It still is. I mean, donation's big for us. And so it was literally like, fuck, we don't have enough money to take this guy on a trip. Like, okay, well, here's $1,500 out of my own pocket. And we take the guy on the trip, and it just slowly grew. So, I mean, I'm sure there's smarter ways of doing it, but I mean, I'm just one of those like, fuck it, let's just do it. If we're going to do it, let's just do it, get it going. And that's what I did. And so, it cost me a lot of money out of my own pocket, but I didn't care. I never looked at it like that, And so I funded a lot of it in the beginning, but then all of a sudden donors start coming on, and these companies are like, hey, we want to monthly sponsor you. And then it just started rolling, And
Pretty
so
awesome,
there were some times, man, I'll be honest with you, where we were really hurting, and like Dan Bilzerian, he's a good friend of mine.
Yep.
And he doesn't put it out there. And I know you guys have done some work with him for your safes and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's times where Dan was like, Dan, like we're in a tough spot, and he'd just write me a check. Like, here you go, man, take care of the boys.
Yep.
And so, those guys, and people don't realize it, and he doesn't put it out there how much he does for the veteran community or for kids. I've delivered truckloads of toys to like Chalk Children's Hospital of toys that he's bought. Wow. And he just doesn't put it out there because obviously having a platform like him, he's got billions of followers. Right. Then I'll hang out with him for a day or two, and he'll maybe tag me in something or just be in a picture. I'll have hundreds of messages of people just asking for his number and asking for money. Hey, I'm a college kid. And it's like, bro, like, yeah, so like go out and hustle. Do it. Yep. It's just by associating with him. So him being like, hey, I just did this for an organization. Imagine the thousands and thousands and thousands of organizations that'll reach out at that point. Cause it's just, they see that he's helping somebody. So he doesn't have to put it out there. And so he's done a lot. He's helped dig us out of some trenches. So
yeah, a lot of people hate on that guy in the veteran community, like, oh, he never finished buds, or he never did this or never that. But I've heard that people don't realize, man, he does a lot for the veteran community.
He does.
And, a lot of people just aren't aware of that. They see what he puts online, and it's like, oh, he's exploiting women, or he's this or he's that. It's like, don't hate, bro.
How can you exploit women? I mean, dude, I've been with the guy. Like, right. I've spent a lot of time with him, and unfortunately, it's always a fucking sausage fest when I'm with him. I always think like, he's like, dude, come out and shoot machine guns. I'm like, yup. Like, there's gonna be all these models and like. Right. Everyone's just getting their dick sucked left and right. And I show up and it's just a bunch of fucking dudes every time. Like one chick, I'm like, damn, like the hell, bro? Like just,
false advertisement,
yeah,
bro.
Every time. And so, it's just one of those things. But like, he's just a fucking cool guy. Like, when we first met, he shot me a text. He's like, hey, it's Dan, like Dan Bilzerian. And I think I texted him back like, dude, fuck off. I don't got time for jokes, And he's like, no, it's really Dan. Like, I want to talk to you. And that's how he got in contact with me. And he was like, hey, listen, like, DraftKings paid me $1.5 million for 3 posts to go to Cabo. He's like, I've already hired 30 models to go down. DraftKings going through all that trouble and getting sued, and it was illegal or whatever DraftKings going through. He's like, so they just told me to keep the money, and he's like, I already got the trip booked. He's like, I just want to bring down a bunch of vets. You want to bring down some vets and go and party? And I was like, fuck yeah, like let's do it. I couldn't make the trip, but I sent a bunch of guys down there, and they hung out with Dan for like 4 days in Cabo and had all these models all over them. It was a time of their life. These guys, one of them ended up on the cover of Playboy on the internet. This was like the Playboy website. This dude's in my Wishes for Warrior shirt. I shouldn't even be talking about this. And he's like got his nub in this chick's ash crack.
Oh,
with my organ, and like it's on the cover of Playboy, and like Dan sends this, and I'm like, geez, I'm like, well, it was a good run, it was a good run. So I was like, holy fuck, like, how do I contact Playboy? Like, could you please like take this picture?
Right.
And it was just like one of those captured in the moment pictures, and like the vet was like, he still talks about to this day. It was like almost 4 years ago. He's just, he's still on cloud 9 over it. We didn't get any flack back from it, thank God. But, that was out of my hands. Dan, I guess that's what you get when Dan's the chaperone. He just
unsupervised.
Yeah. So, it could have been way worse. But yeah, he does a lot of good stuff, man. He's actually a really good guy once you get to know him on a personal level. And yeah, I got nothing negative to say about the guy. Like the whole Vegas thing, like, I called him the day after the Vegas shooting, and he told me, he was like, man, it was fucking crazy. He gives me his whole entire story. Then like a week later, the video comes out about him like trying to ask for a gun. the day after, I mean, I talked to him and he was like, dude, it was fucking crazy. The cops were all running because they thought the shooter was in the crowd. And he's like, I'm trying to get a gun from a cop and asking people. And he told me the whole entire story, like the day after it happened. And then all of a sudden a week later, this video comes out and everybody's crucifying him over it. And that's just what you get for being in the limelight and having like the numbers of people that follow you. Like you can't get away with anything. I mean,
yeah, it seems like whenever you start to get any level of success, there's always gonna be detractors, people that are gonna hate on your success.
We talk about it all the time, man. And, and it's like, I get it quite a bit. And, and surprisingly, some from the veteran community, but it doesn't, I don't know. It kind of bothers me, but it doesn't, because I put so much passion in the wishes. It's just, I've seen lives change. I'm not saying me, but through the organization and guys helping. It's so like, I'll start another company and start building a new brand or something like that. And people are like, you just use it for that. And it's like, you can't, the second you do anything successful, it's just people hate on everything. And instead of like supporting you, building you up, and be like, hey man, how do I help you? Hey, can I promote that? Or can I shout that out? Or hey, let me rock your gear or whatever product. It's just, you get that, man. And it's a bummer, because like, at least how my mind works, if I have a buddy, I don't care if he owns 9 companies, every one will be like, dude, how do I help? Yep. Do you need help? Can I help market it? Can I do anything? And so I don't know. And it's those guys with that mindset. They're the ones that are miserable and working for somebody the rest of their life, or a 9 to 5, we're sitting in a cubicle. And it's like, that's why their lives suck. And it's not my fault. I'm sorry. I'm out trying to grind and, start a new adventure or a new company and just constantly thinking and hustling. And fucking Phil and this knucklehead here, they're poster boys at it. They're always trying to get something new going. And it's just how you have to be, man. You constantly got to think outside the box.
Yeah, the veteran community is pretty tough, and I've come to find that out myself. With like I'm doing podcasts with a bunch of different guys, and then you'll have some that'll hit you up and talk complete shit, on the other one and this and that. And it's like it's such a bummer, because like for me, I never envisioned my life being that way, where it's like if I'm ever any level of success, if I have any type of success, if there's people that I love, that I care about, I want to take them with me.
Absolutely.
I want them to be a part of that success. In no way would I ever want to like break somebody down or hate on them because they're hanging out with this person or that person. Like, I don't give a shit, man.
Like we all have different, obviously our opinions on different people and stuff like that. And I used to voice mine quite a bit. This guy knows it. He's gone through and put out some fires behind me, but like I have like a legit reason, and I'll voice it to that person. I won't talk shit to them. I'll fucking say it to their face. I got no problem with it. But it's just, I have my point and my opinion, and I voice it, and that's it. But like, man, like it seems like the veteran community, the more successful you become, like the more you're hated in it in a way. And it sucks like that, because there's a great group of guys out there, and instead of being like, hey man, like you're a vet and you're killing it. Like, do you offer a job? I'd love to come work for you. Or, hey, can I help out in any way? You never know. Fuck, this guy might take you under his wing. I know so many successful veterans that take guys under their wings, build them up, show them how to do it. And then here you go. Now you're running your own division of it, or your own satellite company of that, or you could branch off and you got enough knowledge of what you like to do from this other vet that instead of trashing him, you went and worked for him for a couple of years, and now you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know if it's an entitled thing, or I get it a lot with my organization. I take out the older generation vets.
Yeah.
Guys that like not the Vietnam guys or veterans that retire after 30 years. Yeah. And they'll see me like, how do you have your own organization? That doesn't make sense. I'm like, well, what doesn't make sense? Like, how did you just do it? I'm like, I just did it. And then they'll start like hounding me on it. Like, well, how old are you? I'll tell them like, and you're already doing that, and you have this company. I'm like, yeah, and you do this and you do that. I'm like that just doesn't make sense. I don't understand. And I'm like, what do you understand? I'm like, what do you mean? And then I'll like, they're almost threatened or they hate on it that you're out there hustling. And it's like, he did 30 years and he just collects his retirement check and he sits at home with his miserable wife and they take it out on you because you're out there doing it. Yeah. I don't know, man. The veteran world is a very touchy world. I'm sure the guys are going to hate on this podcast just talking about it, but it's the truth. It's
a bummer, man, because like you have guys that just, I don't know, I think their life is probably, that's what their life is about, is discrediting whoever they can.
Yep.
To make themselves like feel a little bit better, I guess.
But like, how far does that get you?
Nowhere. And that's kind of the deal, is like, I always try to be super transparent about like my service or what I did, because I don't really care. Call me out, say whatever you want. There's guys that I served with and none of them have ever said anything negative about my time in the service ever, but you see it a lot with all these other guys where it's like, oh, that guy never saw combat, or that guy never got in a gunfight, or that guy, who gives a fuck, man?
Oh, dude, I had these guys that were after me for a while. I actually became friends with one of them. This guy hated me because of this non-vet wanted to do some work with us, and I didn't like what he was about, and he was just more of like just taking vets out and getting them fucked up. Right. And he wanted to partner up, and it just wasn't my thing. You know, I'm more into it. There's more healing when you're out there sitting around a campfire and you're accomplishing things, is like how I look at it. Well, this guy starts trashing me to this other vet, and then this vet jumps on board and like just starts, you know, him and his little cronies are always after me. They're like, yo, you're a fucking pogue and you're a fake sniper. Cause I had a 50 cal. I bought a 50 cal with my security company. Like never have I ever claimed to be a sniper. I'm a tracker. I'm an 1833. I'm a 50 crew chief. Like that's it. Like the Mark 19 and the Mod Deuce were my babies. Like never. And these guys were just trashing me for everything. Then finally one day I just called one of them out. I was like, hey dude, I'm driving Northern California. Like I'll buy you a beer. You can say whatever you want to say to my face. No, it's not even like that. I'm like, no, seriously, it is. No,
it's like that. Yeah.
It is like that. And we actually became good friends. Yeah. And he was like, man, this guy told me that you've never served. Come to find out, we did the push through Ramadi. When we did the initial push through Ramadi, the Army had like the east side of the city or the west side of the city. We had the east side of the city. Well, he was in the Army unit and I was the Marine unit. And like we were in Ramadi together. And he's like, fuck, I had no idea. This guy told me you've never even been deployed and all this other bullshit. I'm like, you know, like, dude, if you would have just hit me up, I would have told you everything. We were in Iraq together, literally pushed the same city together, turned that city to Swiss cheese. And it's like, I'm like, bro, you ain't got to hit. And I ended up winning this AR. I was like, hey man, if I win this AR, I'll give it to you. He's like, no, you ain't got to do that. I ended up winning, giving it to him. And, you know, and we ended up, he's a really good friend. I've sent him on some wishes trips and, you know, he's now a brother to this day. And so all because all you had to do is ask, you know.
Right. How do you think we can shift some of that in the veteran community where it's like, is it, you know, just kind of, weeding those kind of people out, you know what I mean? Or calling them out, because it's kind of like, it seems like it's so prevalent, dude, like with the whole like discrediting and the whole like talking shit. And like, at the end of the day, like I see what you're doing. It's like, you're genuinely trying to help people. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you hate on that? You know what I mean? Like my podcast is like, I'm trying to get people's story out there because it's important, man. It's going to touch somebody's lives. You know?
I don't know if honest to God, that's a really tough question because like, and I take, like I said earlier, I take it to heart because there's so much passion and love that I give back to the veteran community. And then when somebody's like, you're just doing it to go on free trips, like, motherfucker, do you think I want to spend time away from my daughters? Like for free, volunteering, money out of my own pocket? No, I don't. But I do it because your fucking fat ass is sitting there bitching about me doing it. You're not doing anything to help the veteran community except for your negative comments. And so it's tough. So I honest to God, like every time somebody does that, I'm just like, I kind of beat myself up. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You know, I'll have guys like him, like, you know, and just Luke that's just like, dude, like just fuck him, keep grinding, you know? And like, it's just, I don't know. I wish there was an answer for that. That'd be like, hey, like, let's just stick together. I mean, that's all it is. It's like, man, let's back each other up, support each other. I mean, if you don't drink fucking coffee and the guy wants to spot, like shout out a fucking veteran coffee company or soap company, you know, like that's, I try to do that on my social media. I don't even know guys. If it's like, it's a veteran small business, send me your shit. Like I'll shout it out all day, you know? I just want to help small businesses grow, help veteran companies grow. If there's more than that, dude, I mean, all these guys would be successful. And it's tough. You just got to get it. I think it's a mindset. You get out and it's a dick measuring contest at the end of the day. Like, oh, that guy's only done one tour to Afghan. Well, I've done 4 to Iraq and 2 to Afghan. It's like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? You know, like at the end of the day, who cares? Like, what are you doing now? How are you helping people? Are you, and you know, you drove by that guy that said, I'm a homeless veteran, need help. You drove right by him. Like, did you ask? Did you offer him a meal or a blanket? You know, so I don't know, man. It's tough. If the veteran community was more open-minded to get on board with each other and help each other out, it'd be a great thing. And totally. And you see these guys, these groups, and you know, like the Black Rifle Coffee guys. I mean, fuck, man, those guys are the most tight-knit group, and look how successful they are. They're fucking millionaires because they all support each other. They all back each other up. Do you have to like them? No. I mean, fuck, dude, they're doing great things. If you like them or not, I mean, they're killing it because they surround themselves with positive, like-minded individuals that have done the same shit, want to be successful, and look at them. Instead of sitting there at a coffee house, oh, fuck those guys. You know, Grant, okay, he's got this many followers on social media. Oh, fucking douchebag. Like, you know, you see the difference. I mean, like, you know, that's why you surround yourself. I mean, I got this guy right now that I'm hopefully be taking over his business here in Idaho. He wants me to hire all vets. First person I called was Luke. I was like, dude, got an opportunity. If you're in. Like, you want to work with me with it? And he's like, fuck yeah, I do. So I want 50 guys like Luke that are going to sit there and bust their ass and not bitch about the stupidest shit. And
what kind of company is it? You know,
it's a coding company. It's one of the largest coding companies in the country. And he's looking to retire here in Boise, and he wants me to run it, but he wants me to hire all veterans. He's like, take this company over and just hire all vets. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, let's do it.
Super awesome, man.
Yeah, and it's because of the networking and my attitude toward him. And he knows company. I've run projects that he knew that I've run before. And, it's just keep staying positive, keep a positive attitude, and keep grinding and networking. And you meet things like that. And I didn't have a clue. He's up here trying to buy properties, and we ended up having dinner. And here you go. He wants me to take this over and hire a bunch of vets. And so it's what's going to happen. It's the next stage here to help out the veteran community here in Idaho. So why not? We're going to do it.
What was your life like growing up? Like, what made you get into this? Like, kind of like, because I think certain people, if you come from a family that's a giving family that's always giving back, it's kind of that becomes like innate in you to want to give back.
Honestly, God, my family wasn't. I don't say it in a bad way. They weren't a giving family just because I come from a super poor family. Not like dirt poor, but like we came from nothing. My dad busted his ass. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and we had everything we could have ever. I had a great childhood. I'm not saying like we're sitting there fucking splitting a steak 6 different ways, like those sob stories, But it wasn't a giving family. I'm the type of person. If I have a way to give back to somebody, it's just who I am. I always want to help out somebody, and it might be kind of like I'm not saying a negative to me, like a downfall to me, because I give so much, and I see somebody I want to help, or like, if I have an opportunity to hire somebody, or, even if they're the biggest piece of shit, I know they're going to let me down, I'll give them the opportunity, right. So that's just who I am. And I've always been like that. And, I grew up in a great family. It's just one of those things, and like my dad, I always tried to take my dad on trips and give back to him for how much he sacrificed for us as kids, so. Totally. Yep.
When you, is this like your bread and butter, the foundation that you're running? Is that like your bread and butter? Or do you have a second job?
No. So I'm actually, when I started Wishes, I worked for a huge organization, and I have an apparel company, like a lifestyle brand, which is, I've yet to make a dime off of my organization. I've never taken a salary. I've never taken a dime. And so, and then I have an outfit. I partner with a buddy out in Colorado. We have a big outfitting company for hunting. So we do a lot of high-end deer hunts and hunts down in Texas and Colorado. So that's kind of my bread and butter is what we do. And I enjoy it. So
super cool.
Yeah.
Where do you see the foundation going? Like, what's your goal for the foundation?
Honest to God. I have no clue. I have no idea, because it's grown so much in the last year and a half, because we actually outgrew ourselves with the organization. We were hurting it because there was only me, Britt, the VP, and a couple of volunteers. And it actually outgrew us, where we were dropping like hunts. We were dropping the ball on booking them in time. It was just it got out of hand for us. So we actually got rid of our whole entire board, brought on a new board that was in it, and, and super hot and wanting to really work hard with it and take it to the next level. And once we did that, then Boise happened, and this Under Armour thing happened. And then, we're looking at launching a Battle Buddy program, which what I want to do is take kids that have had like traumatic injuries, like an amputee or burns or cancer kids, and partner them with a vet of the same sort of injury or life-altering, experience. Yep. So that way a kid almost has like a hero to look up to in a way, and send them on like trips or whatever. And then we also want to branch off and do a first responders as well. So, cops and firefighters, which is something we want to branch off. And we're actually changing our name from Wishes for Warriors to Life After War. So we're in the process of doing that. We're rebranding right now. It's a long story, but Cliff Notes, this big organization is threatened by us, and they're suing us because our name's too similar.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was kind of a huge low blow to us, and kind of took the wind out of my sails for a little bit. And I called their president. I was like, "Hey, president to president, we're not competing. You don't do anything. This isn't even the name of their organization. It's a branch inside their organization, like a program in their organization that they said it was too similar to." And it was like building wheelchair ramps. They gave out grants, like a couple of grants a year. Yeah. So we don't do that. And I told them, I was like, "Listen, we don't compete. This is president to president." I had no idea this program name even existed in an organization when we started Wishes 4 years ago. And she's like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Shouldn't be any issues." And they fucking send me a cease and desist and want to take us to court. I could fight it. I could spend our organization's money on it, but like, why would I do that? And I'm not the type of person to just roll over, and it kills me. And I'd sit down with the board. And I'm like, "Hey, here's our two options. We either rebrand, or we spend however much money we can, or try to find somebody that's going to do it pro bono and drag this out. And like, what's the point?" So we're actually changing to Life After War is going to be the new name. The logo and everything's going to be the same. We're just changing the name, which is more fitting for us actually anyways, because of everything we're doing now. It's going it's just, branching off with all, we got the Purple Heart and Gold Star program, which we've just launched, which is going to be it's for families to send them on retreats. So there's so much more that we're doing. And, where there's a negative and there's a change, there's growth. And so, everything's just taken off.
I forget who said it to me, but they're like, if you're not being sued by somebody, you're probably not successful yet.
Yeah. I wish that was I wish it wasn't the case of an organization. I mean, I consider all the other dumb shit I get myself into, and I'm getting sued over my organization's name. Out of all things in a million years, I never would have guessed. I have 100 other options I think I can get sued over. And it's like the name of my organization. And it's just another thing, like the veteran community, and they're a multi-million.
Oh, there's another veteran community.
Yeah, they're a veteran organization, and they're a multi-million-dollar organization. We do a couple $100,000 a year, which is great, but I can't compete with that. Right. And it's they're threatened by, and I'm running this out of my house.
Right.
And here they are. They got this giant corporate office, and
that sucks, dude.
Yeah, it was a huge low blow, and I almost shut the doors down over it. I was like, what do we do? I can't, I just built this name of Wishes for Warriors, and we have all these marketing and brands. I mean, dude, I got people that have this tattooed on them. Literally supporters that have gotten Wishes tattooed on. And they're like, dude, and I told them, nah, don't. I love my organization, but that might not be the best idea.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have a Wishes tattoo for a reason, you know, fuck. And so now we got to change the name. Hey, guess what? We're going to be Life After War. It looks like you're getting another tattoo. They're like, fuck yeah, I am.
All about it.
So it's tough. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you always got to just keep looking forward and grinding and busting your ass. So
what's the best way if people want to get involved with the organization? They want to donate. What's the best way for them to do that?
They can go right online to www.wishes4warriors.org right now. So if you Google Life After War, it'll also pop up. Okay. And then you can go right online. You can, make donations on there. You can go right on our social media. It's Wishes for Warriors on Instagram, which we're mainly on, or Facebook. And for everybody listening that's not a vet or knows a vet, you can apply on our organization for. So you could submit somebody, nominate them for a trip. We have a lot of kids that do it for their dads. They see what their dads are going through, that they're struggling. We'll have wives that reach out to us hey, my husband has no idea. He'll probably kill me if he found out about this. And we'll fly somebody right to their house, pick them up and take them on a trip. So, you don't have to be a vet. And plus, I say this lightheartedly, especially Marines and the Army dogs, we're fucking retards half the time. Can't figure it. We make it as brain dead as possible. So there's no excuse. When we made the website, I was like, fuck no, this is not going to work. There's too many clicks here. Right. It's just be submit, click, boom, done. Right. So if you are nominating somebody, you fill out the application, and then Jesse, which I talked about earlier, he'll reach out and, we get the information that you need. If you don't have it at the time, if you are, a kid of, a spouse or whatever.
What help are you guys looking for now, with the organization, if any? What's the best way for somebody to give back? Is it by donating their money, but donating their time, or donating product?
So with Wishes right now, a lot of organizations are on a volunteer basis where they go out and put on these big events and hikes and whatever, and they need volunteers. We really don't need volunteers. You can go on, fill out a volunteer application. So if we have a banquet or an event in your town or city or close to you, we could reach out. But for the most part, everybody that's helping with Wishes has been vetted. We make them do a year of volunteer work before we even think about sending them on trips. Just because, there's so much that goes into it. So, if you are a vet and you're into the outdoors, or you want to start getting vetted and so we can start sending you on trips with guys, obviously we look for that. But for the most part, it's just spreading the word, letting people know, donating. Obviously, it's what makes the charity world go around. So
I would love to put something together in San Diego or something like that.
Mm-hmm. We were huge before we moved here. That's where our home was. We were based out of Temecula. So, we had banquets there, and we ended up moving the banquets to Texas. But yeah, we have a ton of support down in Southern California. That's where we started at, and that's where, we were based at for a while. But yeah, anything. What we have a lot of people doing right now is just putting together a spaghetti drive.
Right.
You get together in your community, you see if a restaurant will donate the time and the night, or you guys put on a venue, and we have guys that are raising us $5,000-$10,000 in a night or more,
Super awesome.
And even if it's $1,500, that's $1,500 that's going straight to the organization, straight to the program. So a lot of people now, it's hey, how do we help? We want to do something to raise your money. We're like, oh man, here's an easy way to a spaghetti dinner. You sell $150 a plate or whatever. I'm just throwing a number.
Right.
But that's just what people are doing now. And it's that's actually kind of taken off for us. And it's awesome. Golf tournaments. We have a couple golf tournaments. We just had one here last week and that these guys were at, and they donated a ginormous safe. And, and that was a great time. We went out and raised a bunch of money and everybody had fun. And so we got a couple more golf tournaments coming up this year in California and I want to say Minnesota.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, we're always staying busy.
Yeah, I'd love to link you up with I don't know if you know anything about Rogue American Apparel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Wes has
I know Wes.
Yeah. So he has a big old office and stuff like that, and a nice property, and they do a lot of charity events there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'd be down for that.
Yep. Absolutely.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. No, I've known Wes for a long time.
Yeah, it'd be super cool.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, man.
Yes,
I ask everyone that comes on the podcast. Number one is if you had one book or one person that inspired you the most, whether it be with the foundation, your life, or the Marine Corps or whatever, one book or one person or both that inspired you the most your entire life to do whatever it is you're doing, who would that person be?
My dad.
Yeah.
My dad for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad's a badass. Yep. Nope. He sacrificed so much for us kids growing up, like I mentioned earlier. And he's just an awesome dude, all around great guy. I mean, I grew up with him and just looking up to him my whole entire life. I mean, he wasn't a big fan when I joined the military because I was supposed to play college ball.
Football?
And so I had a bunch of, schools and was getting recruited and, supposed to play that. And then the war broke out. I went and I came home. I was like, Dad, I joined the Marine Corps. And he's like, you better go unjoin the Marine Corps. He's like, you got college ball this fall. And I was like, no, I'm out. And so, we kind of lost contact for a little bit, but, he came around seeing his baby boy, his firstborn take off and go straight to war, so it was hard for him, but definitely my dad, man, he's a rock star. And to this day, I was just on the phone with him yesterday for like an hour talking. He's just a mountain man and he lives a simple life, trapping, fishing. Him and my mom loving it. He just retired. And so, yeah, I'd definitely say my dad.
That's awesome, man. Do you have any regrets where that's concerned? Like going from, could have played college ball instead of going to the Marine Corps?
Honest to God, my only regret that I ever had in the whole entire military or anything was not going recon.
Really?
Yeah. I was married at the time. And I was attached to our recon team in Iraq, and it was all the instructors, and they were like, Pam, like, you're exactly what we're looking for. It's not even like you fit in, you're the type of personality that we need and that type A. And they're like, come through and you'll no problem be through Indoc. And I came back from my second deployment. I did 2 back-to-back deployments with my wife at the time. I was like, hey, I'm going to Indoc. And the Indoc was like 5 days after I got back from my deployment. Like literally wasn't even going to have leave or nothing, straight to Indoc. And she's like, if you do that, our marriage is over. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I never did it. I ended up getting divorced like a fucking year later anyways. Yeah. So that's literally my only regret. And I was going to actually stay in the Marine Corps, but I put it in my MARSOC package. And then I was an E6 at the time. And right when I put my MARSOC package in and I was going to, give that a go, they stopped doing all E5s and E6s and above, and they were taking just troops at the time. And I was like, oh, that's my sign.
Yeah.
It was like time for me to go.
I just did a podcast with John Brown, who's the president of the Recon Marine Sniper Foundation.
Okay.
So I went up to Eugene, Oregon, did a podcast with him. Super cool. There's a lot about the Marine Corps I didn't know. My stepdad was in the Marines, but I didn't really know much about Recon or anything like that. So good stuff, man. The other question I want to ask you is if you had one lesson, man, that you could teach somebody else, that's coming up, whether it be a new Marine or just a new person in life that's coming up, and it's a lesson that you learned the hard way and you can save them the heartache, what would that lesson be, and why would you teach them that one?
Just stay positive, even in the shittiest times, man. Just there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. When you get to those times where you're just like, fuck, this is it. There's always somebody that's out there that's going to care. There's always somebody that's going through what you're going through at that time or been through it, so it's just, I see a lot of guys want to quit and you can't, you gotta keep going. I mean, there's been times where I literally had nothing. I mean, we're scrounging pennies to keep the lights on in my house, and it would have been easier to walk from everything and to just give up. But I mean, you just got to constantly keep grinding, keep pushing forward. I mean, it might be shitty at the time, but there's always a positive, and reach out. That's a big thing. Reach out. And there's always, there's the veteran community. Like I said, there's 50 something thousand organizations for vets. Yeah. Reach out to one of them. Reach out on social media. Don't ever be that guy that just sits in the dark and lets your life start spiraling, So, and if you are in that deep spiral, there's definitely ways out of it. And like me, give me a call, man. I've helped so many vets that aren't 50% combat that meet our requirements, but it's just a guy that's in a really low spot, needs some help. And, there's always definitely the brotherhood out there. Reach out to it.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, being willing to, give me your time to share your story, man. If there's anything that I could ever do to help promote what you're doing, I'm more than willing to, man. I believe in it. I think it's totally awesome.
Appreciate it.
So thanks again, brother, man.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
All right, later.
Thank you for listening to my backstory. Stay motivated and stay connected off the show. Follow at my_backstory_ to be a part of the journey to recovery and to see where your story goes. Or visit us online at hereismybackstory.com.